I have a friend of mine here today by the name of Jeff Keech, and I was so excited to run back into him after several years. We met years ago, and Jeff rolled into Speakeasy Networking one night, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so fantastic. So the whole reason Speakeasy Networking event exists is to support local businesses, and I was really excited to hear what Jeff's been up to. So I knew Jeff formerly as a realtor, and now he's got his own pool business, and he's very successful. But today I just wanted to kind of show a little bit about what Jeff is doing and what we're looking to do for the local community. So we want to talk today about why networking for business. And Jeff, do you want to just share a little bit about yourself and your background and what you're up to?
Should I take a big Jim Carrey? But first, yes. My background, I got into the Las Vegas area here in late '93 after a few years in the military, and followed my mom and dad out here. First year and a half, almost 2 years, I worked as a delivery driver for an office supply company. So I hit about every corner of the valley, which back then wasn't that big compared to now, you can imagine.
Truly.
So my mom actually suggested somewhere in the early 1995, hey, why don't you get into real estate?
Yeah.
So in the second, third quarter, I went and took the classes and passed the test and got into real estate in the fall quarter of 95. Been very blessed working with really very successful guys right out of the chute. Top realtor was on his team, and then went to work for the owner of one of the largest companies in town. Then got the commercial bug, got into commercial, was into commercial development, land assemblage, so several different submarkets, and still have a lot of great relationships in that community, in that real estate community. Real estate is a very social crowd.
Yep.
Either in commercial or residential, it's very connected, very organic. So when the market crashed, 2008, 9, 10 area, I was all house flipping, all residential investments.
Yep.
What else were we going to do?
Right.
In that time frame, I met a lot of different contractors and earthwork guys and landscapers, and a group of those guys started a pool company, asked me to take a look at their job costing and project management in early 2019. Make a long story short, I learned what I learned and opened up my own pool company in just this past December.
Isn't that awesome?
No, it's great. And you talk about the business building and leveraging business building and organically. My partner, Dustin, I would say he's very mechanical, which is a good thing. He's very mechanical. He's very understanding of that SEO marketing and how do you get internet leads and different leads from different mechanical campaigns. And I'm the other side of that pendulum, which is organic. I'll go down my phone list and call people, hey, I'm in the pool business, or social media, leveraging that, or networking groups. So do we want to elaborate on take 30 seconds and elaborate when I walked in, was it a couple weeks ago?
Yeah.
Joe Martinez, Super Joe if you listen, invited me down to a networking group and had some really good things to say about the power of its organic. It wasn't the typical group with fees and requirements and lead
yes.
what is it called, lead delivery requirements and things like that. And when I walked in the door, you were right there, and I said something like, pardon my French, oh, Cindy, this is your effing house too? So forgive me, but and then Joe came up about 20 minutes later and he goes, how is it possible that you know more people here than I do? And it's not about, that's nothing about me or my company or companies. It's just, we have spent so long in that organic relationship, networking, and we've really tried to deliver each other one. To keep your business top of mind with me, it's not going to happen unless we're in communication, we're going down the same road with trying to help each other build business, which is passing referrals out. Like if Joe needs a mortgage, I'm going that way. Or if someone needs pool maintenance, I've got my pool maintenance guys.
I always preach when I do seminars about you've got to be having legitimate partnerships when you're in any industry. It is so much easier to do business when you have a feeder pool of 4 or 5 people sending you business. You're not having to pound the pavement to go get business. Your job should be mostly doing your business. And if people are constantly feeding you business, that's all you have to work on. But the bottom line is a lot of people don't know how to network or market their business. And to me, a networking event is the best thing you could ever do. But it's all of those things. It's getting on the phone, calling people. An actual phone call. Wow. Like, I cannot believe how many times I'll leave a networking event and I'll get a bunch of cards and I'm the only one reaching out to people that I met the night before or the next week. And no one reaches back out to me. I'm like, why would you go to a networking event and spend 2 hours of your life and not reach out?
Or both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is one thing I'm always talking about is when you go to a networking event, go there to truly network and be there for how can I support somebody else?
You got to go deep.
Yeah.
You got to go deep. I mean, if we were to, I don't know if there was a networkgroups.com type of a website where it just had every networking group through every trade organization and lifestyle imaginable, but you see that with every once in a while with some business people, and God bless them, I don't mean to be critical, like I'm Warren Buffett, genius or something like that, but not at all. Trust me, not at all. But when you go too wide, there's just not enough time in the day. There's only 24 hours in the day. So if you're going really wide and you have a tremendous staff to help leverage all of that follow-up afterwards, traditionally, I see escrow and title companies, they have very big marketing staffs to handle going wide.
Yes.
Pool company, small guy, or any other small business, you've got to go deep. You've got to kind of choose those networking relationships and those business relationships, personal relationships, and go deep with it, nurture it, take care of it. In real estate, there's the Mike Ferry side. I don't know if anyone watching this podcast would recognize Mike Ferry's pretty aggressive. He could sit in his style, theoretically, he could sit in a phone book and just cold call all day long.
Yep.
Whereas there's a fellow by the name of Brian Buffini who coaches nurture that sphere of influence, and that's the organic side. So I think I got really lucky. Dustin, my partner, he's the Mike Ferry side. I'm the Brian Buffini side, and the attention coming into the company is terrific.
Right.
If anything, we've got to turn that volume down so we're not spending all day answering new phone calls, ignoring the promises we made to the folks we're already working with.
Sure. Now, what would you say is making your company, which is called Smart Pools?
My Smart Pools.
What makes your company different than all the other pool companies?
I think background and experience. Background and experience in very high standards of not just customer service, but following through on promises, putting together systems within the business that can support that, rather than putting that cart before the horse in conversation. With all due respect, in the contracting world, I think the contracting world can have that stigma of frustrated homeowners and even commercial developers where the contractor's scheduling isn't on time and or really it's about the communication isn't there. Mm-hmm. Bad news happens sometimes, get on the phone and talk about it.
Like your permit's delayed.
If there's no news whatsoever, get on the phone and do it. But to have a body, a certain person in an organization following some sort of a true system that's outside a paper tickler file, something digital in today's world, it's very easy to manage. Mm-hmm. And it's such an easy problem to solve. But it seems that there's a gap in that project after project after project. Mm-hmm. There's frustration from a homeowner. They just want to get the project done, and the contractor offsite. If it's
their yard is all dug up.
And or the experience took a very, very long time. The worst thing is it takes a very long time with very poor communication. Those two things added up couldn't be worse for any given homeowner.
Sure.
I've also had stories where homeowners are extremely happy. So I don't mean to sit here and be like every contractor or every pool contractor. Not true at all. I've heard some great stories. I wouldn't say that we're in competition with any other pool builder either.
Right. There's more than enough business to go around, right?
Well, I'll say it like this. There's a tremendous opportunity for us all to get in front of a large group of people in the desert. It's the desert. I don't think pool building is going to stop.
And let me ask you this. We are running into some huge water shortages. What are they doing about that with pools in your industry? Tell us what that looks like.
As I've understood, the latest, I don't want to call it a ballot, but the latest agenda that is being pushed is a 600 square foot water maximum on new builds. So if a new build is going down to permit in any of our 4 jurisdictions, they would only approve a 600 square foot body of water.
Okay.
Now that's fairly big. That's a pretty darn big pool. However, Las Vegas has some luxury properties that are up in the 13, 14, 1,800 square foot area.
I look at
all day or bigger.
Yeah.
Or bigger. I don't know how that affects commercial. I really don't. I don't even know if it's attached to commercial, but residential for sure. And I also don't know how far along in decision and or legislation that may be right now. I've only probably heard just the scuttle from general media.
Yeah. I think the first approach needs to be cutting down on how much we're watering our yards and, maybe looking at fake grass or desert landscaping or that kind of thing before we, dig into somebody's pool ideas, And
I will say this in all fairness. I personally have not been in the conversation that I can only imagine is such a large conversation of overall water usage. Like you say, is it landscaping or grass? What other big water usage is going on? A pool is a closed loop system, but through the hydration, it does need to be filled.
Yep.
It's going to go down, you got to fill it up. So I'm sure I don't necessarily think it's the initial fill of the pool.
No, it's the water loss on a daily when it's really hot.
Over 5, 10, 15 years, down the road, over thousands upon hundreds of thousands of pools in Vegas, you can imagine.
Yeah. And then if you get a leak or any of that kind of stuff. So, yeah, just watching your, Lord knows the water company hasn't had a problem charging me for water when I have a leak in my lines, You find out real quick you have a leak when your bill is just skyrocketed. So, but yeah, so let's go back a little bit to the networking thing. You've been in this town a long time. What would you say is the number one source for you getting business? Is it the organic nature of what you do? You reaching out, phone calls, networking events. What do you think has made you successful?
Personally, 100% organic. Even with a previous pool company that had called me in for job costing, project management, led pretty quickly to, hey, do you want to design and sell? That's how I got into that's how I got back talking with the consumer. Yeah. That was a lot of fun. But I would say right from that point, the very first thing I did was reach back out into the real estate industry.
Yep.
That's my neighborhood, very proud of it. And had response right away. When you think about vendor armies, and let me back up a step. In the real estate world, back in 2012, I created a transaction coordination business, which is basically a virtual assistant business for the realtor, primarily the residential realtor.
That's amazing.
Marketing that, I wanted to and did create vendor armies. So groups of title companies, lenders, home warranty, and home inspection. Those are the 4 vendor groups going into residential real estate for the past 60, 70 years probably.
Yeah.
I wanted to make transaction coordination. That's the name of the company, Transaction Place One. But transaction coordination, I wanted to make that an absolute fifth. I wanted to have somewhere between that and coaching, an absolute fifth vendor that was going in hard. And we did that. We changed the industry with a few fee structures and all that stuff. But creating those vendor armies, I still work with now. So I took My Smart Pools and plugged it right in. Actually, both the previous company and My Smart Pools plugged it right into that same model.
Yeah.
I even use the exact same operational management software in real estate as I do with pools, because it's a project management look. It's not privy to real estate or pools or skyscrapers, or it's a management software system it's where's my phone? It's on my phone and everything. So it's just really easy to be. It's very easy, I think. Let me take that back. Simple. I think it's simple to create systems that keep you in touch and enable you to respond quick to your clientele and or your lead flow coming in.
Well, and I love that. Like once you create one business, it's easy to produce another one because you learned all the steps, what you needed to do from this business, and you plug and play for the next one.
And I just realized
that's really amazing.
I'm admitted, audience, a horrible rambler. Let me shift myself back to what you were talking about, the power of that networking and business growth. I mean, let's break it down to its most basic element. I jumped back into networking for My Smart Pools, really launching in a whisper campaign right about December 15th. And before the end of the year, we had 2 pool sales 100% directly because of reaching back out.
Yeah. To the people you
Jeff,
already had relationships with.
That either we already had relationships with, or like the 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon or whatever. It was so many degrees off and bang, 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 and it works. You have to stay consistent with it. But I would say to anybody, embrace it. It's not... Dustin's going to watch this podcast. He's going to hate me for saying this. Dustin said, no, Jeff, that isn't what I want to do. That's fine and dandy. I think someone in any organization needs to. It doesn't have to be everybody, but I think there does need to be the recognition of what parts are going to be mechanical and what parts are going to be organic.
Yeah.
Because organic lasts longer.
Totally does. I have been in this town 27 years, and I think the trick with all of it is relationship. When you know that you got other people that you can count on, when people work with me, they get a team of people automatically that, on the mortgage side, I'm like, don't you want, you're just buying a new house. You're going to need all kinds of things for this house. Don't you want a painter that somebody's already vetted and trusts? Don't you want a pool company that somebody has vetted and knows the price and you can get a good deal because you're coming in on a friends and family thing? So I have always told people, please call me the second you get in that house or whatever. When you're working with me, you're getting a team of people around you that will support you. And that is, to me, worth its weight in gold for one client. My clients are happy because they know they don't have to go out and find their own person every single time. They can call me. They know I've been there, done that. I know who's going to be the best person.
You have been there, done that. Okay, so if we met right about mid-2018, June, early July, somewhere in there for sure. Walking into the house a couple of weeks back was really no surprise. It was like, what a surprise, great to see you, but Cindy, no shit. Pardon my language to say that. But what you're doing here now, you seem to have amplified it. Yeah. With not just the group, not just the Speakeasy group, but the podcast. That's that whole another level of exposure. Yeah. So, and I suppose the audience should know, I think I was on the way out that night. A couple hours later after the event, walking out, and I heard you say, to somebody, podcast, and I said, I've been here for 2.5 hours and you didn't say anything about podcast? And we had that appointment right here set 37 seconds later. So, podcast, folks, it's really where it's at. Yeah. Me and Dustin, hopefully you'll see us out on a wide range of different podcasts, and events, the golf course, charity events, all kinds of things. So we just wanted to get that out there. In closing today, the power of networking, and I'm just so excited for your business. You guys are killing it. And we at Speakeasy Networking, my partner Frank Mistretta and I, and my other partner, my marketing director Ulysses Pisa, we stand for local Nevada business owners, and we want to make our state right again. And that's going to take all of us business owners doing well. So that's what we do. We support you. Thank you for being here. My pleasure. Thank you very much.
We welcome you back whenever you want to come back.
Right on. No, I love it.
And if this conversation interests you, get a hold of us at cindybirkland.com. And Jeff, what is your email address?
Jeff at smartpoolsnow.com. 702-767-3585 is his phone number.
Awesome.
Thank you very much. This is awesome.
Have a great day, folks.